that money, dummy, do it for the love. And I'm hungry, did I mention money? Cop cars, now I need that airplane money. Hardly laugh in the ghetto, being broke ain't funny. We built for this homie, yeah, we run the streets. You see me everywhere, Jewed up, tucking the heat. I rap for the hustlers, put my life on this beat. We all we got.
Last but certainly not least, the topic we're going to discuss is Claressa Shields. She sent a few text messages. Not text messages, I mean tweets. She wrote a few tweets, and one says, I don't care what y'all say, over 90% of these men boxers do not possess the skills that I have, and my accomplishments show that. If I was a man in this sport, I'd be a billionaire. The fact I'm being overlooked because I'm a woman is ridiculous. And I don't want to hear well, you talk trash and that turns people off because you're not humble. When I've heard Wilder and other boxers say outrageous shit about killing people and doing coke, even boxers beating up their girlfriends. So miss me with that bull crap. Well, she said the S word and then she wrote bull crap. All right. The women at UFC are always the main and co-main event on pay-per-view. When is boxing going to get on board? And then here's a quote. I've already let my team in Showtime know that I would fight on the undercard of Earl, Deontay, or Manny Pacquiao, any of those big fighters. The Charlo, Jamal, and Jamel, but I'm not going to fight on the undercard of nobody who's not a world champion, especially on pay-per-view. G, what are your thoughts on Claressa's tweet?
Oh man, so much to cover. We just handled, racism. Now we're gonna handle sexism. This is interesting for Boxing Bros. You know what I mean?
I don't know if I like this on Boxing Bros.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I'll say this. I do give her this one point. I don't believe a decorated champion like Claressa should be on the undercard of people who aren't champions, right? And you know why they're doing that, because they'll put her on the undercard to sell the pay-per-view. So I don't feel like that's right. Now, I agree with what she was saying, like, hey, if it's Spence, Wilder, or Pacquiao, put me on that undercard, because clearly, that's more exposure for her. Now, where me and her kind of part ways is when she's saying, oh, well, if I was a man, I'll be a billionaire. You don't know that, And then two, let's just be real. Like, and I try to be as understanding and empathetic as possible, but it's a business. And so one thing that I do know about the UFC is the UFC has to give all credit to
Ronda Rousey.
Ronda Rousey. Because Ronda Rousey changed the game. Now, you could argue that, it's because of her looks, whatever. But it was a combination of looks and skills. She was literally beating these women up. You know what I mean? Putting them in all kind of chokeholds, body slamming them, doing all of that to make women's mixed martial arts exciting. And that won over a lot of people, including Dana White, who has publicly said on a number of occasions he would not promote women MMA, right? And he changed his mind because Ronda Rousey made it marketable. Claressa, you have to make women's boxing marketable. That means you got to take big fights. Layla Ali is a huge fight. It seems like now that them talks is long gone, but I feel like if she wants to be this billionaire that she's talking about, you need a name like Layla Ali to put you on the upper echelon of just athletes, period. Not even just female boxing, but just athletic, just athletes, period, right? She needs a name to get her up there. Fight somebody of worth, somebody with a name. That's how you build your name in boxing. You beating up on these poor girls from overseas, they come in here, you just beating them up. It's like, yeah, you're talented, but we want to see a struggle. We want to see opposition. we want to see that challenge to be like, yo, she is the best, and this is why, you know. And so, and then another thing when she was saying, Wilder talked about murdering people, and other athletes talking about doing drugs and beating up on their girlfriends. I see what she's saying. However, again, this is where I have to agree. There is a double standard, right? But there's double standards across the board when it comes to, representation in athletics and everything, right? Like, it is for a lot of people, right? And then you gotta understand the older generation as well. They don't want to hear a woman talking about, killing somebody or really beating somebody up. I remember watching the T-Rex documentary, and I agreed with her PR team when they were like, yo, you got to dial that back. Like, we're trying to make you a star. We're trying to get you endorsements. She was like, why do I need to do this? Why I need to do that? They should just accept me for who I am. And it's like, yo, you really think Anthony Joshua is his, like, holistic 100% self in front of the cameras? He's not. You know what I mean? Like, he's playing the game. You want to get those endorsements? You want to make the big bucks? You got to play the game. If you're not willing to play the game, you can't complain about it. Like, with the fact that she brought up Wilder doesn't have any endorsements. He got one, Everlast. And he got that Everlast endorsement before he even became the champ. You know what I mean? So, like, he got the, hey, you need free trunks? Yo, we got you. Yo, sign this document real quick. That's what Wilder got. So don't compare yourself to Deontay Wilder, the man with no endorsements. It doesn't make sense. So, it's just odd that she could say what she's saying, but let me be fair. I understand where she's coming from, right? Because it has to be frustrating when you're like, yo, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing, but they're not giving me that shine. They're not giving me that platform. Why can't I headline a pay-per-view? You know what I mean? Like, so she's probably just frustrated. Like, yo, this isn't fair. Why is this happening to me? And she, in her mind, she's thinking, it must be because I'm a woman. And probably the people around her probably saying the same thing. Yeah, it's because you're a lady. If you was a fella, you'd be a billionaire. I don't know any billionaire fighters, but, I guess she was just saying that hyperbole to strengthen her argument, right?
Possibly.
Yeah, but let's just be real. Like, Claressa, what you got to do is change the game. You got to take all, like, competitors, like the real fights, set up the real fights, even if it means taking somewhat of a pay cut for the short term, because then it's going to lead to long-term success. If you're bringing up the UFC, you might want to look at Ronda Rousey's strategy and replicate that, because she went in there, like, determined to take heads off. And then if you notice, the women after her, they built off of her name. Like, I forgot the white woman's name, that kicked her in the face.
Holly Holmes
Kicked her in the face, destroyed her. Then Amanda Nunes destroyed Holly Holmes. You know what I'm saying? Amanda Nunes is just running through ladies right now. And it's how she's doing it. She's doing it in devastating fashion. She's actually an MMA artist who's a certified striker, knocking women out. So when you see that, when I watch Amanda Nunes fight, it's going to be exciting. Claressa, you got to make it exciting. It sucks, but it's like, I know it's a sweet science. Sometimes you can't always go for the knockout, but you might want to start taking these girls out by knockout. You know what I mean? Because you need to sell yourself. If you're going to fight a no-name girl, you better take her out within 3 rounds. Do the Mike Tyson style, the Mike Tyson strategy. Get them out the way early. So that way people go like, yo, you seen that knockout? Yo, you seen what she did? Da-da-da-da? Like, as much as I hate on, what's that, Serrano sister that knocked out the soccer mom.
Estrada.
Yeah, her. As much as I want to hate on that knockout, people are talking about it. Why? Because it still was a knockout. Claressa, you got to do some things that you may not agree with right now, but these strategies are necessary to make you a household name. Complaining about you being a woman versus, like, men, that's not going to help your argument. Your argument will be helped when you start laying out women and men are like, I have to see a Claressa Shields fight. Until then, you can't complain about pay or not being a pay-per-view star when you're not marketable as of yet. And that's just the truth.
Ned.
Yeah, I agree with G, but I understand Claressa's frustration, And she's what division is she in the women's boxing? Is she
super middleweight right now?
Middleweight?
I think
Yeah. I don't know what competition she has, but you know that maybe there's not a lot of competition. But keep building your resume. Keep be a star, yo. You know you have the you're on the platform. You have that you're at that point where you could be a star. Now don't start complaining. Just use your platform to expose yourself. You don't need pay-per-view to become that big. If it's money, then all right. But you don't. You could be marketable on Instagram. So many things. There's so many things going on with you that you can use to your advantage, Claressa. So don't sit here and just start making it like, oh, because I'm a woman, because it's not the case. You have and you're the baddest out right now. You could really use that to you could empower a lot of women. You could do a whole bunch with your brand right now. Don't use this moment to knock yourself. Just take advantage of what's going on. Get a good PR team. Learn to market yourself. And I think you're about to. I know you're just a little frustrated, but everything's gonna work out for you, Claressa. I'm on your team, yo. I'm on your team, girl. I'm rooting for you.
Yo, but Ned, she tried that on NBC with the Titans show, and she did horrible. You know what I'm saying? Like that was her opportunity to garner more supporters. Yeah. She didn't do too good, and so I'm like, yo, fam. To me, it's like, yo, people want to see winners. Yeah. You just gotta win. I mean, to me, honestly, this is what she should do. As super middleweight, yo, Ned, you're actually right. Like, she kind of cleared her division. Just move up. You know what I mean? Yo, just take that leap. It's unfortunate, but you might have to just do it. Yo, fight the bigger girls. I know she already fought what's her name? Cruz.
Franchon Cruz deserves.
Franchon Cruz. Like, hey, fight her again. Or Jimenez. You know what I'm saying? I think that would be a pay-per-view fight. I think everybody would be like, yo, Claressa, you crazy. You know what I mean? Like, I would definitely pay to see that fight. And if she could pull something like that off, then people could be like, yo, maybe she could, beat Layla Ali. You know what I mean? Like, this is the type of things that you could do to sell yourself to get the bigger paydays. But if you just stand in your comfort zone saying like, oh, everyone should fight me here at super middleweight, even though I cleared the division, everyone should still love me. It's like, yo, the world don't work like that, man. That's like, and you know me, I love Wilder. I do. I'm not paying top dollar to see Wilder beat up on cab drivers, bro. I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. You better take that to Fox. You know what I mean? If it's not going to Fox, yo, don't ask me to pay for that. It's just not cool. It's like Wilder can't be like, I'm your king. Y'all should do da-da-da-da-da. Just shut up, Wilder. You know what I'm saying? I'll be like, nah, bro. Fight real competition for me to pay $75 out of my pocket. That's how it should be. Claressa, you got to do the same thing.
Look, man, I'm going to just keep it a buck with Claressa Shields. It's too bad youth is wasted on the young. That's what they say. It's too bad youth is wasted on the young. And what that saying means is that by the time you're an adult, if you can go back to being, young with what by the time you're an adult, your life would play out differently. You would make different decisions, right? Typically, the people who are successful in life had great guidance. When you have mentors, when you have people around you who are successful, when you are exposed to a certain way of thinking, and it helps guide you towards making better decisions because you understand the importance of why you're doing something in that moment. And I think for Claressa Shields, even in her tweets where she's like, I don't want to hear it's because I'm saying this. Deontay Wilder has talked about killing someone in the ring. Once again, what you're doing is you're referring to what someone else has done, and you're not holding yourself accountable. But you're also highlighting someone who, like G said, only has one endorsement. One endorsement. So what I would say is look at the people who you aspire to be, because clearly you're comparing yourself to the top guys of the sport, right? So tell me when Canelo says that. Tell me when Joshua says it. then you'd have a point. Don't tell me that Wilder says it. Wilder has one endorsement deal. Wilder is really the lowest paid heavyweight out of Fury and Joshua. So why? Tell me what they say.
The same Wilder that couldn't even get a pay-per-view fight when he fought Ortiz for the rematch.
Exactly.
You know
Don't tell me what he says. The guy sniffing coke, you talking about Oscar De La Hoya. I don't know who she's talking about, but if you're talking about Oscar De La Hoya, right? He didn't say any of that when he was fighting. And Oscar De La Hoya got a resume that's sending him straight to the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Oscar De La Hoya, he gets a lot of crap now when people talk about him sniffing coke now, but that wasn't the narrative when Oscar De La Hoya was active. That's like all a narrative now. That wasn't a narrative when Oscar De La Hoya was the golden boy. And even the guy who eventually became the pay-per-view star knew his role when he fought De La Hoya. He knew he was the B side. He knew De La Hoya was the A side. De La Hoya big time him. De La Hoya picked a size glove. De La Hoya pulled rank on Floyd. De La Hoya did things that let Floyd know, this is my show. I'm the A side. Floyd was like, whatever. You showing up to the fight? Good, because I'm going to beat you up. Once I beat you up, it's all going to end. I'm going to be the A side. See, that was the dog mentality back in the days. That's how it worked. There was an A side, there was a B side. When you were the B side, you say, okay, you want the gloves, you want the whatever. Are you showing up the night of the fight? Okay. Enjoy your last night being the A side for the rest of your career, because I'm going to be the A side at the end of that night. That's just the way it worked. Now you got all this talking. Claressa Shields has a 20% KO ratio.
Damn.
She hasn't had a knockout in her last 6 fights. So all the guys you're comparing yourself to, when was their last knockout? Deontay Wilder knocked out a guy before he got in the ring with Fury. Deontay Wilder has a 90%, over 90% knockout ratio. Anthony Joshua's high 80% knockout ratio. Even Tyson Fury has a ratio that's knockout ratio over 60%. Claressa Shields has a 20% knockout ratio. So did she factor that in when she made these statements? Because you keep comparing yourself to these guys, but you keep swearing you perform like them. 80%, 90% knockout ratio, Deontay Wilder. So how about this? I guarantee you, Claressa, get a 90% knockout ratio and then talk the smack you talk. I bet you have better numbers. Could it be that you just don't knock people out enough? Is that one thing? Could that be a reason why you're not a pay-per-view star? I'm just asking. How about?
That's crazy. Only 20%. That's
how about a championship, a heavyweight championship fight, or any championship fight for that matter, in men's boxing is 12 3-minute rounds. 12 3-minute rounds. And Claressa Shields only has to fight 10 2-minute rounds.
Mm-hmm.
10 2-minute rounds. That's 20 minutes versus 36 minutes of activity. So if you got paid the same amount of money as Deontay Wilder, you really be making more money than Deontay Wilder because he has to work longer. So it really wouldn't be equal pay for equal work. Although in Deontay Wilder's case, it's never really equal pay for equal work because he usually ends the night short. When you talk about Claressa Shields, and this is why I say it's too bad youth is wasted on the young, I think she's going to wish she listened to what people told her on a come up. For example, I remember when she was like, she wasn't going to change her style. She was just going to keep wearing what she was wearing and whatever. And now you see that she fixed her teeth and she's wearing certain outfits and she's getting attention. She certainly has Ned wrapped around her finger now. But you see like a lot of people like, oh, Claressa Shields is beautiful, whatever. How about you use the one? Well, you have an advantage. You have an advantage. You're a woman in boxing. Okay. Right? A woman in boxing. And you're a good looking woman in boxing. Look at how Anthony Joshua's using his stuff. Look at AJ. Good looking dude in boxing. He's making sure he's marketable. He's making sure he's sellable. He's making sure he's doing all that stuff. Yeah, behind closed doors, I'm sure he curses up a storm like, I want this, I want. Yeah, maybe. I'm not even going to say that he's being a phony because I don't want to project that energy on Joshua. But what I'm saying is I'm sure he has his moments where he wants to say something that probably won't go over well. But he recognizes the value of what he does in public. So Claressa Shields, accomplished women's boxer, good looking. How come if people weren't worried about you saying something that might hurt their brand, you probably getting some good endorsement money. Mm. How about that? I'm just saying, the people who are telling you to do these things recognize your marketability. How does a 2-time Olympic gold medalist, undisputed champion, not have more endorsements? For the same reasons you're telling everyone you don't want to hear it. You don't want to hear it. You don't want to have family members. I'm not going to name who they are that I love, right? But every time I give them advice, they tell me they already know. Or when I give them advice, they don't want to take it. So now I don't say anything at all, and I don't give them any advice, and now I don't care. You can't tell someone something when they already know everything. And you can't help someone if they refuse to accept help, if they refuse to accept coaching. So then you just don't care. So Claressa, like for me, I think Claressa's talented. I think she's marketable. I think she has the gifts. And she could even go even farther in terms of receiving endorsements, in my opinion, than Anthony Joshua could, just based on her status in women's boxing. But no one's going to endorse someone when they have to worry about what they're going to say, what they're going to do. Are they going to bring someone to an event that's going to stab somebody? Nobody wants to be a part of that. Mm-hmm. Nobody. So I would tell Claressa this: hire a team. Hire a team, a PR team, and hire a team, hire a stylist. Hire a PR team and stylist, a makeup artist, and get your money.
And reach out to Jaden Smith.
And she what?
Have like a sponsorship of pure water.
That's smart.
That would be dope.
That would be dope. And here's another thing, and I'm going to close it out with this. Claressa Shields, it's time. It's time. It's time for you to fight a man. It's time for you to fight a man.
Say something else.
It's time. I think there are a lot of, she said it. There are 90% of these guys out here. You're right. I know damn well there's at least 4 or 5 guys I think Claressa Shields would beat them. It's time to make it happen. And I guarantee you that's on pay-per-view. I guarantee you when it be like Billie Jean King. When she beat whatever his name is. Nobody remembers his name. We remember Billie Jean King. We don't remember him. Everybody will remember you, Claressa. No one will remember him. Okay? We get you the opponent and you beat him. Nah, but in actuality, Claressa, I think that Claressa is very talented, very marketable, but I think there are other decisions she needs to look at, from what happened to the Havana Habazine at the Havana Habazine press conference, to some of the things she says, to some of the ways that she behaves. I see guys do get in trouble for that. Now, when you talk about guys hitting their woman, they should get in trouble for that. And if they're not getting in trouble for that, that's a problem. That's a major problem with society. that they wouldn't do anything about it. But in terms of Claressa Shields, just listen to people, man. That's all I can say. Listen to people. If you want it, you gotta listen. And if you don't listen, you can't complain that you don't have it. All right, guys, I'm done.
Big facts. So, people, thank you for rocking with us. This has been the Boxing Bros podcast. Please check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. It's the Boxing Bros.
I wanna see what's on your mind. You wanna see what's on my mind. Pimpin' all the time. I wanna know if you wanna be mine. You wanna know if